peeling, and you have a couple of things that are working on it. You have, first off, you have a material that constantly wicks moisture, so it's constantly subject to frost crumbling. Plus it's impregnated with iron, which is constantly going to rot. It's going to oxidize, turn to iron oxide, and expand and increase your frost cracks. Now, you're going to have a fairly constant deterioration once you breach into the interior metal structure, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so now we have reinforced concrete with metal, and we lose our first layer out of 4. We lose a quarter of our strength. This goes on for a considerable amount more years. You're going to lose the same amount, but when you lose the second layer, you lose a full third of your structural integrity. Now you're down to 2 layers left. You go that same time again, you're losing half. So even though you're losing the same volume of material, you're actually, not quite exponentially, but certainly not in a 1, 2, 3 manner, you're losing an awful lot more structural integrity. And my concern is without, I wouldn't even know where to begin, how to graph that to say this is where we're at and this is where we're going. But my concern is especially coming into winter, if it's already deteriorating, we've already lost the pedestrian walkways. We know that we've already lost a lot of the iron. Might it be a wiser course, because of the greatly reduced load rating on the bridge and the fact that we do have school buses and heavy trucks that go over that bridge, closing that bridge? I understand it would be a huge inconvenience.
I was going to say that's going to be completely up to your board. We're confident with Majewski and Masters rating it for 8 tons. That rating, if you're concerned, I mean, that rating does not disappear in 6 months or a year.
It only gets reduced in 6 months or a year.
But these are very conservative. If you wanted to be safe, if you wanted to have them reevaluated once a year, that would be more than sufficient. Okay. Could you close the bridge, and that would be fine.
I mean, from an engineering standpoint,
I would rate it for 8 tons and be satisfied with that.
From an engineering standpoint, does that, what I say makes sense to you?
It does, except there's a time frame. You have to remember this bridge is, I don't remember the age, it's very old. And yes, it does deteriorate and it's going to get worse, but it's not going to get worse in that short of a time frame.
Do we know what the original rating on it was?
No.
So
There's no information on the original rating, although they could do the analysis, and if everything was complete and sealed, they could give you a rating on it, but that was not included in the budget. Typically, you wouldn't be concerned about it. Basically, they're saying you can't rehab it. You can have passenger cars safely drive over it. They don't have a concern. And obviously, their liability is on stake. Structural engineers are very conservative because they know if a car's driving over it and that bridge falls apart, geez, you just said it could happen. So for them, and that's why they rated it at 8, because they'd like to rate it for a school bus and life would be good, but they don't have that comfort. But they do have the comfort for an 8. So you could post it, and then anybody traveling over it would be basically at their own risk. You could also close it. That's the safest thing to do. If you look in there, they did give you an estimate to rehab the bridge. Very, very expensive. And that's basically a higher number than probably was originally floated, because that's basically thinking that you're going to get grant funding for that, which anytime you have federal stimulus money, the paperwork increases exponentially. But those are your options. I mean, obviously, immediately we would recommend that the bridge be posted. As a courtesy, we would again recommend that you notify the local school districts, local commercial entities, and the fire department. And it's very similar to the bridge on South Road. I think that's rated for 10 ton.
By notifying the school, then it rests on their shoulders also.
Yeah, they'll have to, basically it gives them time to reroute any school buses that they have go. I mean, the nice thing about this is there is an alternate way in there. It's not like you're limiting and say it's going forever. Very similar if you on the if you go past Old 17 as you're going towards Middletown, you know, there was a bridge that was removed over that shortcut the house. Brown Road. That's still going. You know, and people live with it. So that is an option, and people just learn to reroute it. Because I mean, those are your options: close the bridge, post the bridge, and then you have to determine in the future what you want to do with it.
Questions, Bob?
Very expensive day.
I was gonna say,
You'll never have me back, I know.
what kind of funds are we looking at?
I don't have the...
You're looking at a cost of, from start to finish, about 1.3 million.
Ugh.
And that's actually closing the bridge during construction. It would be much more expensive to leave one lane open. The problem is you barely have one lane there.
Yeah.
So that's basically closing the bridge, and it's about 1.3 million in today's dollars.
But it's just so everybody is aware what's tied up in that. You can't even have somebody weld on a bridge without a bridge cert. They don't have their bridge certification, special certification. You can't even touch the welder. You know, so it's something that's become highly specialized, which is why it has become highly expensive.
And without the bridge there, the other access is not the road. What is the other road?
Myerson Road up to Red Hill.
So, yeah, well, but
Or
aren't
209,
one
Judy.
closed or one closed in the winter?
Or 209.
I think we should, well, I think we should look to see if we're going to get some grant funding, but
Well, that's the intention is, now this is also,
we have to put up money.
right, but this is, in general, this is, as I view it, and unless anybody has another view, this is actually a highway department issue, and John's done us the courtesy of coming forth. This is a road. This is a roadway. What the direction I was taking was, is if it's something we feel would be better off shut, would that be that we as a consolidated board write a letter to Mr. Johnson stating our concerns. But this, in fact, I believe is a highway department issue. Albeit Mr. Fiore this is one of the things that he's putting together in the package for the stimulus funding because of the expense and because of the necessity. I mean, where it is, it's really quite the way around should the bridge be removed from there. You know, that's really,
Well,
it is an inconvenience for a considerable amount of people on that road. It just changes their life into a big wraparound down there.
well, also, if there's, the town has to meet some percentage of this grant funding, wouldn't we be better off making improvements on Myerson Road and Red Hill Road?
It's an interesting direction.
You know, rather put the money into roads that, you know, people are always complaining about. Maybe that would pacify them a bit. Just we have to allocate money. What?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. Yeah, but you know, the thing is that you have people who are you're putting now in a direction where they're going a mile away to get a mile to work.
Yeah,
You know,
but-
they're going all the way down past the Homoac, and I mean, it's just all points to consider, and they have to make it down to Route 17 in the morning. So
Again, that's why...
again, that doesn't tie up. I don't mean to tie you up in this.
That's okay, but again, that was a stress, that the passenger vehicle now, we feel comfortable if you post it, passenger vehicles can still use the bridge. I think long-term, yes, you're going to have to do something.
I mean,
But-
what
Oh, so
we're
they
trying to
could
say
use it.
to you now, though, is since you have this report, you have to post it.
Yes, I agree.
Okay.
I mean, that's,
Yeah.
you know, that
So-
discussion just has to be resolved.
Well, at the very least, we're sending a letter to the superintendent of
Yeah.
highways that he must post that road.
So wait, let me see if I understand. So right now, it's good enough for a passenger car?
That's correct.
Up to 16,000 pounds.
Yeah, well, I think mine is 3,800.
Yeah, most passenger vehicles are well below.
What I'm saying is it's certainly usable by cars. And
Yes.
For
Yes.
the short-term foreseeable future, it looks like it would be safe,
That's correct.
possibly like 5 years,
Yeah.
whatever. And it could be reevaluated every year to make sure that it's still a better every couple of years, whatever is necessary, so that it stays safe for passenger cars until such time that the town has the money to invest in a new bridge. You get stimulus money or whatever funding.
Yeah, or you may leave it. I mean, again, I point to South Road. That's a 10-ton bridge that accesses South Road. Do other vehicles use it? Yes. Do they use it at their own risk? Yes. But
Yeah, but we
it does
don't
allow,
perform.
So is the one on Haven Road.
yes.
Now, you might not be able to answer this one, John, but I gotta ask. Would you have any idea whatsoever what the cost differential between building a 19-foot bridge and a 21-foot bridge would be?
Yeah, it doesn't work that way. But it is now, even if you expand it to 21, it would be considered your bridge. But again,
Figured I'd give it a shot.
but if you're going to pursue this, I mean, that's one of the options you can do, is you can go to the county and say, yeah, it's 19.3,